Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've gone over the minutes from the Thursday, July 27th, 2023 property management meeting, and I find them to be in order, and I move to approve as spelled out.
Motion and second to approve. Any other discussion? Not. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Okay, public comment. I don't think anybody signed up for it.
No, sir. We haven't.
Did anybody show up for it? Okay. All right. Next on the agenda, MTEMC Site Tower Agreement, Smyrna location.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Chris Clark. I'm the Public Safety Director for Rutherford County. I believe this is my first public property management meeting that I think I've ever attended. Hopefully, maybe you'll bear with me for just a minute. We lease a tower located at 2419 Rock Springs Road, which is the property of Middle Tennessee Electric. This is a radio tower that we utilize for our radio system. We have leased this tower since October of 2013. At the time, it was, I believe, $2,500. It increased every year at 5%. I think we're up to about $3,500 a year now. And we were requesting to renew this contract since it comes up in October of 2023. And hopefully this has passed through the attorney's office. He's looked over it, agreed with, and accepted by Middle Tennessee Electric.
Okay, any questions? Questions? Can I entertain a motion?
Is that the one that's sort of behind Home Depot?
It's located at Rock Springs Road, and that's probably see it from there.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Davidson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Irving,
Yes.
Commissioner Anthony Johnson,
Aye.
Chairman McAdoo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Before we go to next on the agenda, let's have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Dodd, Commissioner Davidson,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Boyd,
Here.
Commissioner Irvin,
Here.
Commissioner Anthony Johnson,
Present.
Chairman McAdoo.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Next on the agenda, USDA office space lease agreement extension, Lane Ag.
County attorney was not able to be here tonight, so he and I spoke about this. The USDA has leased property from the county for quite a while, and it's time to renew their contract. We've negotiated a price that we think is a fair price, and we would just ask. I'm sorry? It is at the Ag Bend, yes.
Any discussion? Any questions?
Make a motion to move to approve. Second.
Commissioner Boyd, second by Commissioner Wilson to approve. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Who was my first and second? I'm sorry. Boyd was
Boyd
my
is-
first.
And then Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you. Commissioner Davidson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Irving,
Yes.
Commissioner Anthony Johnson,
Aye.
Chairman McAdoo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda, one-stop update. Adam?
Good evening, Commissioners. I apologize. I do not have a PowerPoint prepared tonight, so my reports will be fairly brief. So KSA issued substantial completion. Murfreesboro City has issued our CO. All remaining mechanical items have passed inspection. The final owner cylinder cores will be installed tomorrow. We have a couple sets of doors that still have the contractor cores in them, and they'll be keyed alike tomorrow on the 25th. Last month, I briefly touched on a sign permit that I was submitting to the city of Murfreesboro for approval. And tonight, I sent you a drawing there, as you can see, so that that permit has been approved with the city, and that's the additional signage that we're going to add to the building. Its only purpose is directional, to help the public know which office they're entering. That was at no additional cost. We were able to purchase those signs and that install within available contingency. That job we anticipate being completed within the next 2 weeks. Unrelated to the building, the city of Murfreesboro has begun making repairs. Some of you commissioners attended the ribbon cutting ceremony earlier today. The city of Murfreesboro has agreed to make repairs to the entrance as you come in off of Blaze Drive, because that's a shared entrance with the city of Murfreesboro Fire Department. The ribbon cutting ceremony went well today. Both the county and state offices will open their doors to the public tomorrow. That completes my report on the One Stop, and this will be my final report on One Stop. Any questions?
Questions on one-stop?
Thank you for all your hard work on that, Adam, and I move to approve the report.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Wilson. Second by Commissioner Boyd. All those in favor? Motion carries. And that will be the last report from you on one stop, correct? Y'all well done. Okay. You want to continue on? Go ahead.
Chair. Commissioners, I'll move into the public health and safety buildings. I'll start with Rockville. The architect also issued substantial completion, and we had already received our certificate of occupancy. The floor system that I touched on last month was completed about 2 days early, so we were able to move the move-in date ahead. The doors and controls, security controls, passed final inspection. That facility has been keyed to the owner cores, and the card readers have been programmed. The first responders moved in Friday the 18th. The transition overall went very well. There were very few minor things that needed adjusted. The contractor was on standby. He responded quickly, and he addressed these issues within 24 hours. I did mention briefly last month that this project was complete. We were able to make some minor upgrades in the process. Some of the upgrades were to some of our mechanical, our plumbing equipment, and we feel that those upgrades that we made within the contingency budget will save the county money in the future. We estimate, after conversations with KSA today, our project manager, between his numbers and my numbers, we estimate that we'll be returning a little over $33,000 in available contingency back to the county. And I'll give you just a few examples of some of the upgrades that we made within that contingency. So we upgraded the mattresses in the sleeping quarters for the first responders. We elevated some HVAC equipment that let us gain access to insulation pumps, drain pans, condensation lines. This will allow us to make repairs in-house in the future, and we won't have to outsource any of that work or purchase any heavy equipment to move it. We upgraded our plumbing fixtures to a mechanical type instead of a battery-powered electronic sensor type. So that will save on more expensive replacement parts in the future on all of our fire stations. It'll save on having to constantly replace expensive batteries to operate these sensors. So we were able to go with a mechanical valve. And then, of course, the flooring, which we touched on last week. And this should prevent and protect the concrete from future staining, chipping, cracking, which could also lead to future expensive repairs. So this will also complete my final report on the Rockville Public Health and Safety Building. Aside from the building, I will mention Commissioner Reed is not attending tonight, but that open house for that fire station is scheduled for Sunday, August the 27th, at 2 to 4. So I know that he would love for y'all to come out.
Questions on Rockville?
I'll move on. Oh, yes, Commissioner.
I just want to say I really appreciate the hard work you put in to that building and all the other buildings of the county.
Thank you, sir.
You do a tremendous job, and you're a tremendous asset to this county.
I'll move on to the Kittrell location. Its status is like Rockville's status. We now have substantial completion on the Kittrell location. We already had received our certificate of occupancy as well. All punch list items are complete. AT&T has now completed the internet install. They got that done by that 22nd deadline that we discussed last month. Eye in the Sky is scheduled to complete the door control and testing of security equipment no later than next Tuesday, the 29th. All the FF&E has been delivered to the site and installed. I will replace the contractor cores with the owner cores and key the facility next Wednesday, the 30th, no later than Thursday, the 31st. We have scheduled a tentative move-in date for the week of September the 4th. And I'm also pleased to inform you that this project, as it has come to a close, it was closed in a timely manner, and based on KSA's numbers and what I have at the office, we'll be returning approximately $91,000 back to the county out of contingency, and that will complete my report on the Kittrell location, my final report.
Are we going to have a ribbon cutting for it, or have a date on it?
Yes, sir. I do not think a date has been finalized at this time.
Any questions on Kittrell?
Commissioners, the Las Casas project is moving along. I don't know if any of you have been by there recently, but their mason is outstanding. That job is it's coming along very nicely. Site work continues, but all of our electrical, our plumbing rough ends, the conduit, everything is already in places. All of our boxes are in, we're ready to start pulling wire. The concrete block work out there is at roughly 90%, the CMU walls. The liquid waterproofing membrane has already been installed. The mezzanine slab over the tornado shelter has already been formed. The contractor anticipates pouring that slab within the next 5 to 7 days. Steel trusses and structural steel, which would be the steel beams, they are scheduled to be delivered to the site within the next 2 weeks. The heavy timber is anticipated to be delivered next week. So with our 4-week look ahead at Las Casas would be completion of the mezzanine slab. Once that is in place, they'll begin with the structural steel, and then they'll begin setting steel trusses. So we should start to see a roof on that thing within the next 4 weeks, or at least some structural steel. And we should also see the masons start to lay the stone veneer around the perimeter of the building. So they're moving at a very rapid pace on this facility. So I have no complaints whatsoever at this time. And that completes my report on the Las Casas.
Are they ahead of schedule?
They're on schedule. They have no delays at this time to report, which we have had much better weather for construction over the last month than we did, some of these other facilities that we were working on during the winter months.
Questions on Las Casas?
We do have a projected date of April for Las Casas. I meant to include that. I do not have a projected date on Walter Hill, as they are still, there's site works ongoing.
Any questions on Walter Hill?
Yes, sir. The Walter Hill, they just started work about a month and a half ago on that site, as reported last month. So there's a lot of site work ongoing. We do have a block perimeter now. That block perimeter is roughly at 90% at the Walter Hill location. And I touched last month about the underground utilities, that they were complete. We now have underground plumbing, and electrical rough-in is also at 90%. Slab on grade should be completed within the next 2 weeks. The block is on site, and the contractor anticipates to start seeing some vertical CMU walls to start going up within the next 4 weeks. And that completes my report on Walter Hill.
Questions?
Commissioners, last month we presented to you the location, the conditions in the site location of Singer Road, and after the removal of the house, Commissioner, you commented on it. So I guess I'm going to update you that scope of work is now complete. The owner hired Jacobs Construction to come out. They did an excellent job. They cleaned the site. They were very thorough. They also removed the concrete slab that was under the garage. We asked them to remove some asphalt that was there. They removed it, and we also asked them to clear out some brush and some thickets that were not necessarily associated with the home, but were there on that site, and they agreed to do it. So they did an excellent job, and the site looks great now. They also graded it, so that has been taken care of since last month.
Any questions on? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next on the agenda, Florence Road outbuildings. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the report? Adam,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion second. More discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So, as Adam just mentioned, the Singer Road property looks great. I think some of you have driven by there or looked at it. But there are still a few buildings that are on that property, being primarily a barn and then a couple of little sheds. We've tried to auction those off at the same time that we auctioned the home, and we had no buyers. The mayor's office has been in discussions with Nick Christensen, the county attorney, in this, and his recommendation is that he thinks it'd be appropriate for this committee to just ask the county mayor to make efforts to sell that property, and then once, see if we can arrange a sale, a private sale, that way.
Sell the buildings?
I don't think we're going to make a ton of money off these buildings, but at least we would get somebody to pay us to clean them off and take the materials.
Any discussion? Buildings? I don't think we need a motion on it because the county attorney just said that we could sell them. And, but I think Commissioner Johnson brought up about these other buildings, Commissioner Johnson.
If you think we need a motion, I'll make a motion to send this back to the mayor's office and let the mayor's office take care of selling the property or the buildings, all the outbuildings. And to emphasize, they do clean up the property, everything that goes along with the buildings.
I have a motion. Do I have a second to that effect?
Second.
What, second? Any discussion? Commissioner Phillips?
If we have no bids except one guy gives us a bid of a buck, we're still going to do it, right?
Well, we didn't have any bids. We tried to auction this property off at the same time that the home was auctioned, and we had no takers. But we believe that we would be able to find someone who would be willing to pay the county money for the barn wood and the tin and that kind of thing. So we don't know for sure, but we believe we'll be able to find somebody that would be.
But if someone did, if we only had one bidder and somebody said, I'll give you $1 for it, we would take it just to get rid of it?
Obviously, we're going to try to get as much as possible, but, we want to get it gone.
I noticed on Marketplace last night, the barnwood's selling for about $250 a square foot. So just keep that in mind.
Is that a bid?
Set her in, boys, what we get for it.
I hope not.
Question, sir.
Commissioner
If
Davis?
we don't get any bids, could the county sell the materials? Is that an option if we don't get any bids for someone else to get it?
I mean, that's essentially what we're doing. We're selling them the materials with them coming to remove the materials from the site. So it's kind of like the house. We sold the house with them with the obligation to come and remove the home from the site. So it'd be the same concept.
Any other discussion? Okay, that take care of Florence Road, outbuildings. Other business, I think Eric.
So I brought some help with me on this one tonight. First, I'd like to say it's been a priority of the mayor's office to improve our ability to get people into the recovery court. Lachelle, since we've been in office, has worked diligently to try to remove any and all bottlenecks that are within her control and within her power to remove so that we can get individuals into this program. We have come to find out with all of our efforts, we still have people who are wanting to get into this program that we just physically do not have the space to put them in. And so what you have on your SharePoint is a proposal from Bart Klein to add an expansion to the building of the recovery court. Before anyone asks, we believe that we would be able to staff the newly expanded space through grant money. So we're not looking to expand personnel, we're just looking to expand footprint at this time. You will see on here, the bottom of the first page is an estimate of what the construction project will cost, according to Mr. Klein. And on the second page, you will see two figures. I said I brought several people to help me out here. I guess I'm going to start with Adam and explaining the difference in why these two numbers. But what I can say is the mayor's office has been looking at this, and we've been trying to figure out what's the best way and the easiest and the most cost-effective way of handling this project. And we met with Adam Dodd on the scope of the work. If you'll notice in the scope of the work for the first price, there's more things that the architect would be doing. In the scope of the work for the second price, what is going to happen there is Adam has agreed that he can step in and kind of take over watching some of these projects and getting them lined up and completed. And primarily what the architect's job would be is to the expanded portion of the building, the roofing system, some things like that are all encompassing of the building and the expansion. And then converting areas within the building to new office space would be handled by Adam and his office. And the mayor's office thinks that the second option, being the most cost-effective option, would be the best option. So Adam can better describe the construction portion of this than can I, so I'll turn it over to him.
Commissioners, I guess as you see, he broke down your two options. You can see the full scope in front of you, and then you can see the abbreviated scope. I can take questions on either. If you see anything there that interests you. Basically, what we're going to do is we asked KSA for some architectural drawings for a 1,600-foot expansion. This expansion is a multi-purpose. This expansion is a multi-purpose room that would be able to be used for much-needed classrooms. So I think we're shooting for 3 classrooms, and then the idea is to take the cut-up spaces that are inside the facility right now and utilize those interior spaces for offices, and then move the classrooms and the graduations to this multi-purpose room. That's the big picture. What KSA will do is they'll come in, they'll design this, they'll bring them, anytime you do, anytime you do any sort of building improvements, then the building has to be brought up to current codes, electrical codes, ADA codes. So that's where the contractor comes in and makes sure that the county, everything, the wiring and the ADA entrances, exits, fire codes, everything is current. So that's the necessity here from an architect standpoint. As far as the full scope, we broke it down so that outside of the addition, the interior is something that we can easily oversee, and as you can see, it's a substantial savings with us doing that in-house. And some of those items that I'll be addressing are, of course, the HVAC system. We're looking to upgrade the HVAC system. Michelle has had several, we've had issues with that building for several years now. We've tried to upgrade some of the systems. The building doesn't have adequate humidity control. It doesn't have adequate fresh air intake. It's a very large residential building, is what it is. It's built like a residential house. It's just the size of a commercial building. So the building needs some new ductwork. It needs new, updated, more energy efficient HVAC, and it needs some more returns. The building doesn't have, it's not zoned properly, so we're not pulling enough humidity out of that building, and we need to add some fresh air. We're looking to do some encapsulation under the building. We're looking to add some fresh air into the crawl space to help with humidity issues that she's experiencing. Of course, Eric has already touched on the roof. The fascia is rotting. We've got some, we also have some water erosion issues around the building to where the, when you backfill up against the building, sometimes, eventually that will settle. You've probably experienced that. So we have some significant settling around the building. So we're looking to do some excavating. We're looking to put in some French drains, and we're trying to steer that water away from the building. So that, and we're not just addressing the need for the expansion for the classrooms, but we're also addressing the life of this facility going forward, and hopefully in an attempt to get several years of quality use out of the building. Number one is getting rid of the water, replacing the roof, replacing the soffit and gutters. So that's the exterior look of it. We've already touched on the interior. Outside of those revisions, I would be happy to answer any question. I think we're looking for 6 offices. Is that correct, Michelle? We're looking for 6. And I think we have that, possibly 8 offices within the interior of the building if we can build this multi-purpose room so that she can utilize that for her classrooms.
And just to cost, the mayor's office has already found, and Adam is working with us on this, a grant that will actually pay for most of the HVAC work. Guaranteed grant. All we got to do is submit the application. It's a non-match grant. We're working on submitting that application now to the get that money, which I think it was $79,000 roughly, which can be used for energy conservation and energy upgrades. And so that would be used to pay for the majority of this. If anybody has any questions on that aspect of it, we can go there. If not, I would ask that we be allowed to bring up Lachelle Ricks, who can kind of go over a little bit more of the need of why are we doing this? What's the purpose of it?
Got a motion to suspend the rules for her to speak?
Just a quick question before we hear that, and I'm just trying to think about protocol. Has Public Safety, Recovery Court is a report that they normally get in Public Safety, correct? Have they actually had this presentation just to determine the need before sending to us? I'm just curious, and they may have, I don't know.
No, they have not. They come on Monday is when.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Is their next meeting?
Yeah, and I'm just curious if they should determine, because it's on their agenda to get a monthly report, should they say, hey, this is something we want to do, we're sending a positive recommendation to property management to look at these options? I just feel like that might be best. Maybe tonight we hear this, but I'm not sure we vote to move it forward before Public Safety does, since it's on their agenda monthly. That's just the way I'm thinking.
Okay, this is not a new project. This project was brought up before you was elected. And we had discussed the expansion of that building, and we looked into it. And we looked into it to the fact that we were asking the neighbor sell her property so we could expand that building. So this is sort of an ongoing issue with that building. We had it before. Certain property management before, I know that. And we were looking at that building. Basically what we do is, deed was given to us. They have been given to us by public safety and steering and other committees at that time. It was sent over to property management to look at that building. As far as what we decide to do tonight, all we doing basically is looking at the grant. The grant is being brought before us so we can get approval on that grant. And that grant is
approval to submit for and request the grant money to replace the HVAC system. What we are looking for here is approval of the second amount to hire an architect for this project.
like I stated before, we had been looking at this before this committee was, before you was on it, elected. This is not a new project. As far as being presented to us, sent to us over a year ago, basically speaking. It's not the first time we looked at this. And we're just continuing with that project.
Would it be appropriate to, of course, we're going to finish hearing the presentation. Public safety is coming up on Monday. Would it be appropriate, if this is something we like, to send that to public safety to have their stamp of approval before it goes to budget? That doesn't stop any flow of anything, and to me it allows public safety to be able to say yes or no before going to budget, and I just feel like that would be appropriate if that is something that we can consider after the presentation. I just want to put that out there.
There's no problem with that. No problem at all. Motion to suspend the rule? Do I hear a motion to? Motion. Second by Commissioner Davis. All those in favor?
I guess I'm here to talk numbers. Right now, we have about 182 people in our program currently. We have 4 programs: our drug court, DUI court, mental health court, and drug and veterans court. Within those programs, most of them can carry 30 to 40 participants each. We have a waiting list right now for most of our programs, especially our DUI court, because we just don't have the space to bring people in. So we have the ability to treat people if we could get the space to actually treat them within our facility. And so that's why we are asking for the expansion, so that we can get all those people who, we have 105 applications right now that we're just not able to process because we don't have the space to bring the people in.
Quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Commissioner Irvin.
How many beds is this? No beds.
No beds. It is an outpatient program.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
One of the things that we've looked at here in the mayor's office is that this program is highly successful, and the recidivism rates that we see from the individuals who complete our recovery course, and I know some of you attend a lot of these graduations, and you already know what I'm saying, and it's, yeah, I'm preaching to the choir on that, but you know, in the long run, that ultimately saves the county money, and Michelle can talk about the specifics of those recidivism rates and national averages and those kinds of things.
And Eric, just to be clear, at this point, while we're considering all this, you said the mayor's office is recommending option 2, along with everything that we've heard from Adam tonight with his contributions, all right?
Yes.
Okay, just want to be clear.
Our recidivism rate is one of the lowest in the country, especially within Tennessee. The national average is about 40%. Ours is running across all of our programs, it's about less than 20%. Our veteran and DUI court, we're at 2% recidivism rate. Mental health court is 11%. Drug court is 17%. So we're doing good work here.
Any other questions? Commissioner Irvin?
Did you have a chance to find out the sourcing?
Michael, you're being summoned.
Yeah, we suspended the rule. Too good.
What was the question?
Oh, I was just trying to get a sense for where, I mean, it looks like, if I'm reading this right, it's 1.4 million to add a fair amount of space, 1,600 square feet. And I'm trying to see, and all we're being asked right now is for the 84,000, but where's the 84,000 coming from, and where is anticipated the extra 1 point whatever? Where's that coming from in terms of the budget or whatever?
So I did not know, I'm preparing on the fly. I did not know this was coming tonight. However, me and the mayor's office have talked. We do have some leftover money and some other projects that have been completed that we could bring a budget amendment to cover the $84,000. We have several projects, and I'm going to give you a couple examples. One, from the old Judicial Center renovation, we've got $10,000 left. We would like to close out that project. You have to write this down. There's several options. The archive addition is finished. We've got about $50,000 there left. The Goldstein building, since we've paused the renovation of that was funded with Gov 20 and Gov 21 money, so that does have, we do need to spend that. There's approximately a little over $300,000 there that we would have access to. Then we also have an additional $12,000 out of the Gov 20 money that we will have to spend at some point that hasn't been appropriated for any project. And then there's also an additional $67,000 out of the Gov 21 money that came with that funding that we would have to spend. So there's well more than the 80-something there that we would close out some projects and come with a budget amendment if this committee or budget wanted to move forward with this.
Okay, so it sounds like we're covered for the 84 just based on leftover money out of projects. And in terms of the 1.4,
so
I heard about 303.
Yeah, so there'd be several of those projects could, if we closed up kind of the ones I mentioned, could go towards that 1.4. The other thing that we have not received the money, but we will, the community care renovation that was done, that was partially funded by the Christy Houston Foundation. We fronted the money for that entire renovation, and so the agreement was that they would pay us back minus the Christy Houston portion. So once we receive that money back, it should be enough to cover the 1.4.
Let me make a statement. The 1.4 million is, we had two options, 1.4 million approximately, and then the mayor is recommending the 935,500 option two. So let's not get that confused. The mayor is recommending 935,000, approximately 935,000. Plus the 84,000, which we already been approved for the grant. We hadn't for the
So the grant would be in addition to this to cover the HVAC renovation at this facility. I don't know that it would cover the entire HVAC renovation, but it would cover the majority of it, and then we would come up with the rest. But all of those projects I mentioned together would cover the 900 or the $1 million, depending on what this committee wishes were.
Thank you. I was just trying to get a sense for where the 84 and where the rest of the money was coming from before we spend the 84 and move forward.
Any other question? Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So also, when Adam was speaking, he said the two other projects, the $33,000 and $91,000, that are going to be returned to the county, would that also be money that could be put towards this? That was on the Rockville and the Kittrell buildings that are about to be or are completed. They were going to be returning money to the county. Would those amounts be included as well?
Talking about the public health and safety buildings item?
Yes.
Out of contingency from those? No. No, that would, no, we will, so give you a little, answer your question, plus give you a little more backstory into that. Those 5 public health and safety buildings are really 4.5 that we're funding out of ARPA money. So what he's talking about is on Kittrell and Rockville, if we have any money out of contingency or left over from those projects, that'll flow down to the Walter Hill and Las Casas buildings. So unfortunately, no. I believe, I don't want to speak for Adam, but I think that's what he was talking about.
Any other questions, Commissioner Wilson?
I just had one for Eric, not for Michael. I bug him enough before and after meetings. Eric, so tonight you're looking for the approval to get the proposed architectural and engineering fees going, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm prepared to make a motion once we're back in session, Chairman.
Any questions of anybody before we go back in session? A motion to go back in session?
Motion to move back in session.
Second, Commissioner Boyd, all those in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Okay, I would move that we send to public safety with a positive recommendation that we consider the option 2 proposed architectural and engineering fee approval as presented.
Motion. Second by Commissioner Davidson. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Davidson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Chairman McAdoo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Any other business to come before the committee tonight? Not entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.